Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 15th, and I am Barbara Vita. I am the Director of Early Childhood Initiatives for the Network for Children and Youth, and as such, I coordinate the Connecticut Children's Collective. And today is our special series, Our Collective Wisdom. It's a series for us to learn as a collective, as individual groups around the state about what we're working on and how we can learn from it and perhaps replicate it or change it to suit the needs within your own community. And today I'm really, really excited to bring to you and talk with Tony B. Nelson, who is the project manager of a group known as Parents Leading the Way to Social Emotional Learning. And it was born in Wethersfield. And correct me, Tony, if I'm wrong, out of the Parent Ambassador Program. We will also be speaking with my colleague from the network, our own SEL4CT Campaign Coordinator, Ashton Gauthier, who has been working with this parent-led group and is excited to share in discussing its successful work. A primary goal of Parents Leading the Way to SEL is to provide support and encourage parent educators and families to take active roles in their children's social and emotional well-being with a focus on emotional regulation skills and emotional empowerment. And so with that, I'm very excited to welcome you, Tony and Ashton, who will be off camera because she has a child who has not been feeling well. So we will give her grace because we've all been there. So Tony, why don't you take it away?
You got it. You got it. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies. And first of all, from the deepest heart of my partners, the parent leaders, we'd like to thank the Barbara and Ashton and the Collective Wisdom and CTCC for allowing us to be on board to present what we provide, what we plan on providing for people throughout the state as we move forward, okay? And how it started, Barbara, was I guess the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, right? Along with the Harvard Foundation Public Giving, they had a grant, and they thought about an idea. A couple of individuals, Dr. Bailey and some other people, they wanted to look into the community, identify some parents up in the Harford County area to see how we can identify some parents, recruit those parents, and then work with them and introduce them to how emotions matters. And that started back in 2019. And during that period in 2018, 2017, I met the YCEI, Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence representative, Dr. Bailey, while we were at events at the Yale School of Management. And I was going around talking about what I was doing with my organization called Fathers in Education. And we got together and thought about collaborating on identifying parents in the Harford County area. And so that's, we went out, myself and a social worker named was Sarah Caden. And we went out to all the FRCs in Harford, just about all of them, right? And went around and talked to people and met with individuals. And I got a list of names, and I started making the phone calls and introducing myself and telling what we planned on doing. And then we weaned it down to like about 6 or 7 parents. And we interviewed them, and then we met in Hartford first before we went to Wethersfield. Okay, but up in the Hartford area first prior to going to Wethersfield. And so we got it together, and we settled on 6 parents and myself as the parent coordinator. And I just fell in love with the project because working with the fathers who were formerly incarcerated, right? I saw it as a need that could be filled on the emotional side, so we can get a hold of these kids and recognize them from early childhood on. And one thing I learned from doing speeches and meetings and doing discussions is one of the 2 best ways to start a speech or start a discussion is, number 2 would be tell a story, and number 1 would be giving factual information. Okay, so when Dr. Bailey connected with me, I saw it as an opportunity to identify that gap, which dealt with, I'm quite sure you guys on this call understand this. We were doing research on 4.3 million children at the ages of 3 and 5 age in the United States who were not involved with any type of early childhood education at all, 4.3 million. And that was by the Kids Count Data Center under Annie Casey Foundation, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. 23, it dropped down to 2023, it dropped down to 4.2 million. You see, but I saw those kids as this population that was in this SEL group, you might say, on the emotional side, because once they get to high school, elementary and high school, the emotional balance is not there. And if you don't get it in the beginning, pre-K, K, kindergarten, first through 12th, you definitely see that gap, okay? So in doing so, utilizing that data and then going a little deeper and finding out what Connecticut, kids in Connecticut, that number came to 36 to 38,000. So we at Fathers in Education want to know where those kids are. And they were underperforming school districts in certain areas, but most of those kids' parents were formerly incarcerated, even incarcerated. So by working with the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, by getting into this social emotional learning piece, which we created, and as you guys know, Yale was doing the rural aspect of educating schools around the country, right? But what we did from that period of that 2 or 3 year cycle between 2019 to 2022, what we created was sort of an organic method of having the parents tell their stories. We developed those stories into a personal story, which we believe anyone around the world, let alone Connecticut, individuals, people, human beings, would be able to identify their story within one of our stories. It was just amazing, you know, and being a part of it. The safe space aspect of it, the transparency, individuals becoming vulnerable, just having a nice little community type session, talking to each other and describing certain things outside the norm. See, we understand the science. The science has always been there. The issue to me have always been deploying that science. So when we identified these parents, just everyday individuals, you know, not someone that was well-versed, science-minded, understood what was going on, we just got people together and started talking. And we have 2 African-American males, 3 women from their home country is Peru, 1 Caucasian woman from West Hartford, and a young lady who classified people in different Hispanics from the Bronx, but yes, she's in Hartford. And we got it together and started working and just working with the group. And we created something we believe that's very, very wonderful. That would be a great deal for the family. And that's how Parents Leading the Way to Social Emotional Learning came about. So we got together again in 2019, and January 2020, from January to May 2020, we were basically focused on relationship building with each other. And how that collected, we got together and started reaching out into the community. And then we had the parents to go into the community to give us some feedback on what the community would think about it, as parents and teachers and alike. We got some good feedback from that after exploring those topics. And then sometime around 2021, we decided to start recording ourselves and doing some videos. And as we go further, Ashton will show you guys the website. And I believe we'll be able to display one video so you can have a taste of what we were doing, okay, what we came up with. And it was just so invigorating, you know, and we love it. So when the project was getting ready to end, right, sometime in 2022, I thank God for the fact that while working in the summertime, going to the fall of 2022, I mentioned to Yale, I said, listen, the project's getting ready to end. Would it be all right with you guys if we created an opportunity for these parents to continue this process that can lead into something that we can develop and create and make it our own? And so in 2022, Parent Leading the Way to Social Emotional Learning was created, okay? And we're not an LLC or anything like that, but we formed an organization, okay? And the primary goal of Parents Leading the Way to SEL is to provide support, encourage parents, educators, and families to take an active role in their children's social and emotional well-being, with a focus, as Barbara mentioned earlier, on emotional regulation skills and emotional empowerment. Conversations are being held with local nonprofit agencies in the area in Hartford, in order to gauge interests and to initiate an initiative to bring SEL to the constituents in their schools, right? And as Barbara mentioned earlier, the primary goals were creating a network of parent leaders across the Hartford community, okay, and other communities, you know. And then the goal is to conduct some mini workshops and facilitate those workshops in both English and Spanish. And that's one good thing that the group that supported us, they help us create workshop booklets for parents who would like to be part of it. And we also got facilitator guides that we'll utilize, which you'll see on the website, okay? And it's such a great tool. It's just basically, it's the stories that we told, just described step by step, and have some, you know, some workouts with it, some role playing, discussion, video, back and forth. And the time period would be somewhere between an hour and a half, 2 hours per session. And we would give the parents and the individuals who participate in our training the workbooks to go back home with, and they come back with the answers and describe some things, right? Because I believe in this one thing called they talk, we listen, okay? I believe in working from the bottom up, from the top down, no matter what I do, okay? Bottom up, top down, okay? Because that makes things work better. And the pilot that we are putting together now that we want to form with this is, which we want to like to do in 2024 and 2025, is we hope to pilot what we call our stories for growth, making meaning of emotions. You know, stories for growth, making meaning of emotions. And the videos are based again on our series across the Hartford communities and small cohorts of parents, educators that we have. And we're hoping that individuals with other community-based organizations and people that have folks in early childhood and working with SEL type systems and programs be happy and be loved to be a part of what we're doing. Because I think it'll be very informational, right? And I know the community is open for it. And when we did some work with at one of the summits, I believe, with in Wethersfield with WCC, Wethersfield Early Childhood, and Kim Bob and all this, right? It was a great opportunity. We presented, the team presented a little piece of it, and it was welcome pretty much. And then we did another summit, I believe, in East Hartford at one time. We participated at a tabling event. Then just recently we were at the one at the convention center at the Marriott, where we did working with that too as well. Okay, and so I would always say the purpose of the Parent Leader Social Emotional Learning is a project that we like to contribute to our vision for the capital region, where emotions matter and its residents have universal access to high quality SEL, social emotional learning, and who are empowered to be healthier, more productive, and compassionate. You know, and we understand that Ruler is a great tool, okay? And we thank Yale for allowing us to be exposed to what they were doing, and it's outside of Ruler, okay? So it's not Ruler. You make sure that's clear, okay? It's not Ruler. And we know what Ruler is: recognize, understand, label, express, and regulate, right? So what we want to do, we want to take it into the homes, you know, to make sure that we help out with the home to school type process. So these kids, not only the parents, but the kids will be able to identify their emotions while at home. And I've had the privilege to walk into some schools in New Haven, Bridgeport, and the Hartford area that has the meters and stuff up in their classrooms, right? And they check with the kids initially about, you know, chars and those type things, and what color are they are right now, you know, red, green, you know, yellow, blue, and those type of things, right? So we make sure we're good. So as far as the videos are concerned, these are the videos, okay? One of the videos deals with what different would it have made? What difference would it have made? This is when the parents tell the stories. The second video is growing up, we didn't talk about emotions. While growing up, we didn't talk about emotions. The next video is vividly remembering that episode of my childhood. It's like all of us got a time in our life we can remember that one piece that stays right here. It may have been positive or it may have been negative, but it sticks up. And then the fourth one is when I grow, my child grows. That was such a lovely story. But a young lady who came from Peru, came to America in the school system, in the community, but weren't confident about her English speaking skills. And she recognized that what that did was that hampered her ability to support her child's growth with the other school age kids, as well as the parents of those kids. So that was something I believe people recognize around the world as well. And the fifth one is everyday challenges presents opportunities. Everyday challenges presents opportunities. It's a mother from West Hartford talking about having the children in her home, seeing certain things, having time to pay attention to more than one, different personalities, different attitudes. But who's paying attention to me, mommy and daddy, and getting things together? So all those things happen, And then another one is second chances. That's at the end of the project, I chimed in with my story because I would always say things, what was going on. And again, with the fathers in education piece, being a young man who wasn't around his biological father, but was raised by my grandparents in South Carolina, a place called Georgetown, South Carolina, and seeing how they raised me, how the community raised me, and understanding that I never had time to be upset with my biological parents. No one never said a bad thing about them. You see, so as far as I was concerned, I'm good. This LOVE word came up without me knowing about it. You see, all I knew was I was taken care of. So I wanted people to understand second chances, repairing the relationship as a man is that, yeah, I understand things may have happened, but you're an adult now. So let's look at this a little differently and let's do a sense of forgiveness and a sense of repair. You see, so you can move forward. So the next time it happens to anyone in your ancestral or genealogical trait, you'll be able to manage that much better, And then another one, the last one is a light in you. Young man from the Bronx, right? He told his story prior to coming to Connecticut. And the other ones, what different would it have made? The common story, that's a great one too. And as I mentioned earlier, growing up, we didn't talk about emotions. Susan's story, we know a lot about that. Kids hold things in, and later on, that impacts you as an adult. And then again, with Maria's story, that's the one I mentioned earlier too, vividly remembering that episode of my life. You see it, if you haven't seen it yet, you get a chance, you see exactly what that is, and someone, either in your network or yourself, can identify with that, okay? And so that's basically it right there. And all I can say is that it was such an honor to be a part of that, okay? Because that safe space is what we're looking to do with a group of 5 to 8 at a time, no more than 10 people for that hour and a half, 2 hours. It would be in the evening time, or even the weekend, 5 to 7, 6 to 8, or sometime on the weekend. And that space when people would just open up, you see, and then it was go back, recognize the stories for growth, and social emotional learning is a wonderful thing. And like I said, all we want to do is deploy the science in its most simplistic, organic form. People won't be afraid of it, And we're grateful for everyone that helped us and supported us. And I will just say this about the team, okay? It's Bobby Joe Parker, Kama Morales, a gentleman named Lovey Brown, another named Vincent Hatton, Susan Simonetti, and Maria Vasquez, and Ivani Montes. Outstanding. And we're very grateful for the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence staff too, for the time they put in with us and allow us to grow as one. So any questions, or we can show the video. And on the website too, you can see at the bottom of the website, if you want to get in contact with us, if you need anything, any services, you can hit that button at the bottom and put your information in, and then we will follow up with you guys. So thank you. I hope it made sense what I said, okay? Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Okay.
All right, Ashton, are there any questions before we move on to Ashton? Okay, and so I go ahead, Joanne, yeah.
Tony, can you put the website URL in the chat?
Yep, I can do that. I can do that for you, Tony.
Okay, thanks. And so this is a program that's for parents to teach themselves about SEL, and in turn, it'll trickle down to their children, and they'll understand the importance of early childhood education. Is that the goal of the group? Because when I first heard about it, I thought it was for parents to teach children. And so when I did the research and talked about with you, and I was there in Wethersfield with the WEC when you guys did your presentation, and that's when I understood, oh, okay, this is for parents. And I thought, this is one of a kind, I think. I mean, it's really wonderful. So I'm hoping that we can use it throughout the collective with our parent ambassadors and really spreading the word in Connecticut about the importance of SEL. So, Joanne, did you want to ask a question, or just did you want to get the website in the chat? Okay. All right, Ashton, I'm gonna hand the talking stick to you now.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Tony, so much. So I think a big piece of this is just what you said, Barbara, right? Is that parent to parent aspect. And also I think another piece of this too is actually getting, like, this could be something for parents in schools too, right? So Tony, so the group is actually going to be getting into some after school programs. So the CT NCY, we oversee some programs. So if parents are, wanting, and programs are wanting them to come in as well. So we're gonna start piloting for that. But I think like, hopefully, right, is that like we, this would just be ingrained into what our teachers and our educators are just doing across the board, right? I was having a discussion the other day about how, like, family engagement is actually, you think of all these required courses that teachers and educators have to take, and family engagement is not one of them, right?
Yeah.
And what a great way through, storytelling to build those relationships with parents within each program, and to teach them about SEL, right? And the SEL skills for that. And so I was going to show one of the videos. I think I was going to do Avani's story. And, she really speaks to sort of that growth mindset. Tony touched on Avani's story just before, being, coming from Peru and, having to like navigate and build, relationships. And I think something that's not really talked about all the time is sort of that, like, that growth mindset piece, right? Of like where you have been and like where you are now, and how you want to make a change for yourself, right? So that so growth mindset versus like a fixed mindset. And then also how she really was able to, do a lot of positive self-talk and reframing for herself in order to be that role model for her daughter, that her daughter needed. And so I think that is a story that we'll take a look at. So you can see one of the stories. So that this is one of the 7 that Tony was talking about. And so I should have said before too that so also while Tony and his crew was working at the Center for Emotional Intelligence, I was also there working on adapting the ruler approach for out of school time programs, which again is another not paid for service from ruler in and of itself. So just wanted to share that, and we can also, drop some of those in the chats. I know a lot of early ed places too also have like ongoing, programs before and after school, daycares, licensed, not licensed. I think it's important. So, all right. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the video. So I'll just read the intro too. So when I grow, my child grows. Avani struggled with feeling like an outsider in a new community. After immigrating to the United States from Peru, she felt isolated. She couldn't speak English or seek out social connections for herself or her daughter. She noticed her daughter was struggling to make friends. Avani's conviction to support her daughter's healthy development pushed her to grow. Ivani used positive self-talk and positive reframing to find her courage to take English classes. She became a positive role model for her daughter for overcoming her fears. Okay. Almost all done talking.
Was that Wilder?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Almost done talking.
Almost done talking there. You're being really good, Wilder.
I think there's a setting in Zoom that Barbara
Yeah,
has to allow
I'm
you to
looking
share
at it
the,
right now. Video setting, audio, share screen, full screen.
I think I have to be unmuted. So unless you could do it on your end, Barbara, but I'll leave my mic on so you guys can hear. Still no. Okay.
What was it that I was supposed to do, Joanne? Do you
I don't
know?
remember where it is, but there's some setting about,
It says share screen.
yeah, but about audio on videos that other
Audio.
people are sharing.
Audio, test mic, okay. Zoom, background noise removal, auto. Original sound from live performance audio. Automatically adjust. It should be okay.
All right, let's try again. Still no? Hmm.
Auto. Capture with window filtering, advanced share with window filtering, advanced share with window. I'm going to do advanced share with window filtering.
You could try to close caption it at least, maybe.
Okay. Okay, try.
All right, that's it.
Okay, try now. Oh. There's no
No.
sound at all now, is there?
Uh-oh.
Try again. I apologize. I have a new computer, and so everything is different on it. And video. Why is this not? Audio.
Are you in the actual like platform of Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm in the settings of Zoom for videos.
So it
Share.
says from the navigation panel, select user management, then group management.
No, no. If you want to do it, do you want to try doing it? Because I've made you the co-host.
Oh, I didn't know I was able to do it.
Yeah, can you?
But I think
can you?
I think I have to be in like your Zoom platform though, in order to enable it. Maybe not.
Let me make you host. Okay. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I'm so sorry, folks. Did you see that you're the host now, Ashton?
Yeah, I do. All right, I'm gonna stop share.
We're going to figure out the technology.
It's 2024.
We're smarter than technology. Listen, with all this AI coming out, we cannot show fear.
Yeah, safe space, We good, good, we good.
Yeah, it's just troubleshooting. That's all it is.
And you know, and it's in worst case scenario, when we get you with the meeting, you guys, ladies, you can go ahead and check it out and just play it for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Work,
and
you know.
you can walk us through the website as well, because
Okay.
it seems as though there's a lot in there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know if those Google steps I just put in the chat make any sense or not from what you guys can see, but
Okay, share or stream a video clip.
actually maybe it collapsed some of the words. So you can't.
Switch to phone, leave computer. Yeah,
Yeah, I have different instructions than that.
that's just.
I need to be in the Zoom web portal, so I would need to be on my own Zoom to enable it. All right, why don't we just walk through the website? We can actually, I mean, again, I think you know, reading through even just the descriptions here, right? This was the video that we were gonna watch. I think, you know, it gives a, like I said, she talks about, you know, positive self-talk and reframing, and how she does that, and just hearing from these parents' experiences, you know, I think is the most impactful. And then, as Tony said, you know, there's different, I mean, Tony, you can talk through it too, so let me know where you want me to go on here. That like the workshops in general, and how they have, you know, this is sort of the toolkit that they have, scripts, you know, the videos, you know, what the workbook looks like, the facilitator's guide. And I think this is like really, you know,
Benefits.
yeah, the benefits of this, you know, are listed here for you, right? So for folks to recognize their own emotions, you know, through like their own increased self-awareness, right? So again, I know Tony talked about you know, ruler, and you know, this was sort of like base, you know, what came to be based on like that approach, but like this really just targets like SEL skills in general, right? Like ruler is a tool, and there are many tools out there that could be adapted, but I think that you guys really stick with the SEL skills in general, at, like I said, so for like the self-awareness, social awareness, the pieces, you know, good decision making, you know, healthy relationships, you know, it is huge. So I don't know if there's anywhere else you want me to go, Tony, specifically, that you want me to talk through, or you want to talk through?
Yeah, if you go back to home first for a second. Thank you. And thank you very much. That was a good description, okay, like I said, but say when you ladies get time, just take your time and have you and your staff just go through it. At the top, you will see the first picture. At the top again, Ashton. Now, this is Carmen's story. Just let you give your background, okay? That's Carmen Morales' story right there at the dinner table, okay? When you check out, when you review her video, you see what it's all about. And then if you go down again, Ashton, slide down. Can you scroll down, Ashton, please? Did you hear me? Okay.
I'm sorry, my Wilder's trying
can you
to
go
walk
like
outside.
Can you go to learning impact again? Learning and impact. Yeah, and you see, as we said, both educators and mental health professionals, right? You know, and also adult caregivers at home, in the home, and the best practices that we have there for PLWSEL, going smaller and deeper in a diverse group, right? That's the organic piece that we realized that we created. we went smaller and deeper, by having 6 or 7 people in the workshop and put a diverse group to cultivate human connection and spark a transformative ripple effect in families, schools, and communities, right? Shifting from telling caring adults information to applying key EI skills in their daily lives as they learn with and from each other. And then reimagining and anchoring family engagement, as you mentioned earlier, through personal stories, sharing reflections on feelings. And what we would do every time too, Barbara, we would have a check-in at every session. The check-in is to say something like, how are you feeling prior to coming on to this meeting today? Then we say, but name a feeling word to describe it. You see, how are you feeling prior to coming to this meeting? And then as we go under, you see the overview of key concepts. As you see we have it all detailed, the overview of key concepts, stories for growth, making meaning, emotions. Common story deals with emotions matter mindset, emotional climate, initiating conversation about emotions. Susan's story has emotional awareness, self-awareness, social awareness, emotional regulation, co-regulation, name it to tame it. Maria's story, as you see, has emotional regulation, managing our emotions, dysregulation and deactivation, strategies for ourselves. And there's stress and trauma, which we know is a big issue with everyone, stress and trauma. And what we were advised when I told them when we created this organization, that since we are not clinical individuals on the science end, we would also always have a licensed clinical practitioner with us in a workshop, just in case something came up that we couldn't say, hey, I know about this. We're gonna make sure we have someone, right? And that was a great idea.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, Tony, because when I was listening to you, some of this stuff, if I understand correctly, you were taking the concepts that Ruler was making and teaching, and these big concepts, and bringing it down, not lower, but bringing it down so that parents could understand it by telling stories and giving examples of the big, psychological words that were being said during Ruler. Right. So that's a really unique way of looking at social emotional learning. But I also thought in the back of my mind, there's when you're dealing with parents and memories, whether they're happy or sad, can be real triggering. So I'm really glad that you have a professional there just in case something happens. So I don't know if that has ever happened, but I'm glad that it's there just in case. So
yes. And since we are just in the beginning phases of putting this out into the community, into the world now, but while we were in-house, we had that opportunity to have someone to help discuss that with ourselves, you see? So we understood that, and that's how we came about it. We said, listen, before you go out here, make sure that when you get to that stress and trauma phase, that there may be 1 or 2 people in that workshop that may need more than what we are saying, you see?
Do you think it would be a better idea, and I'm going to put this out to the participants here, like I would love for you to and I would like to help you send this across the state. I think it's a great model to get parents involved with social emotional learning. Do you think it would be best, like, say, for instance, I'm just going to use you, Joanne, as an example. You go to Southington and you do a workshop for their parent ambassadors. You speak with them and you set it up and it turns into like a community event. Would you bring your own therapist, or would you ask that when you visit communities that they provide the therapist? Because I'm just wondering what people's thoughts are about that.
Well, can I lay mine first? I would say both, okay, because that's the idea I had. I said it'd be nice if we could identify someone in that region, but I had already identified 2 people that I had that I knew from my experience, my professional life, that said they'll be happy to help when we needed. But yes, someone local would be great too. Okay, definitely. You know what I mean? That'd be fantastic.
Any other thoughts on that?
I know sometimes finding therapists who have time to participate in additional things has been tough. We had some therapists who served on our board who had to step down because they're just so busy with clients.
Okay.
Yeah. And with that, right, you see, that's a good point. Found the same thing, right? So what I was hoping to do was like on the educational side, with my other program, right? Other program, Fathers in Education. They're retired school teachers, right? And they're also at the end of that spectrum, they're other clinical individuals who still need something to do, but they're not as active as they used to be. You see, I'm looking to see if that can be a pool we can kind of touch as well, you know, and you know, with some of these community-based organizations, you see if they may have someone that can land too. But I have two people that already told me that they'll be happy to participate. That's when we get their time, because the scheduling would be, like I told them, after school hours, you know, weekend, you see, for an hour and a half or 2 hours, that's it. And everything you say is right, Joanne. That's so true, you know what I mean? Because they fully loaded. And one of the individuals, a couple of individuals at Yale, who were psychologists and psychiatrists, when I was doing my testing and going around doing my fact-finding, questioning, and those are some of the things they mentioned, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, people got a large caseload, their professional practice, and they're working with the institution. And so time is really, really, really a matter. So we got an issue. So,
Yes, especially post-COVID. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll figure it out, dude. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what more goes on in the workshops? Like, you mentioned that you had facilitator guides and workbooks for parents. Do you have examples of that on the website, or?
Well, if you go to the workshop, check the workshop right there. Hit workshop for a second. Let me see what's down. Go back down. And go down to the bottom of there. Slide on down.
Okay.
So here we get, like go up a little, go back where the workbooks are, right there. Now whenever they sign up, they'll get that workbook, right? And we see we got the table of contents right there, right? And if you can see, the table of contents is basically the story of each one of these individuals. And it's detailed. We can't see it up top right there across from the video type things right here. See right there? The video workshop 5. We have it detailed like that they'll see exactly what steps are. When we first open up the meeting, what the discussions are, what's the subject matter, show a video, have them go home, review the video, come back, we discuss it. We have an open discussion. What did you believe you just saw? What were your thoughts about this particular video? How would you handle that differently? Those type of things. What exactly have you ever experienced anything like this? You know, and then we would just talk and do the same model that we utilize, and just have them start stating things, and actually we can record it if it's okay with them, but also just document it, you know. But those are the basics. We'll go over each one of the subject matters, one of the stories, the workbook, step by step, one by one at a time, and that takes the time up right there. And once they get the workbook, it'll be easier to explain what is in there, but it's basically role playing, answering questions, reviewing the videos, discussing the videos, following up week after week after week, and having them give us their input as to what they witnessed and what their thoughts were about that. And then also learn about feeling words. You know, we do a thing called definition of terms, right? When we first start out, you know, define certain words, what's going on. And also prior to that, we also would create what we call a charter system, right? Help them create a charter in that first session. You know, a charter basically, as you know, as they utilize a ruler is we get the group to say, okay, what are we doing? What's that words? What charter do we use? What are we looking to do? Are we here for to make sure that we get quality outcomes from what we're doing? Are we looking for a better understanding of our household? Are we looking for a better situation with our kids? Are we looking to make sure that we have a better communication with the non-custodial father, non-custodial mother? Whatever that charter that they come up with, that they agree with what their standards are, that stays within that system, you know what I mean? So we talk about all that stuff within the first 2 sessions.
Now, Cindy, do you have a question that you put in the chat? Do you want to go offline, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I was just curious, like, so if we asked for these materials, then this is something we can do ourselves, or is this something we would still reach out to you guys to come do with us?
We'll come do with you. We'll come do with you. And then eventually you can start doing on your own. We'll come with you to show you how it is.
So your goal, Tony, then is to go to these communities, do a workshop, and then have the parents within that community start their own charter.
There you go.
And okay.
Thanks for that input. Yes, ma'am. See, that's all we want to do. See, like I said, I was going to eventually get to that at the end, okay, to tell you that that's the ultimate outcome, okay, because
Right.
that answer your question, Barbara, and ladies, please live what I'm saying, okay. I learned from at least the civil rights movement, right? The story of Selma. When I interviewed one of the civil rights movement icons who said he was the one that was chosen to go into Selma back in the 1960s, he said his goal was to go in and work himself out of a job. You see?
Okay.
Work himself out of a job, not to state it. You see? Come in, inform, listen to the locals, see what they're saying. What are their needs are. Listen, they talk. Once you got it, see you later. And what happens is you create more parent leaders in each area, and it's just a rippling effect where it just grows and grows and grows. And we just want to come in and do our part. And as you ladies know, and it's to help these parents who, and my number one goal reason behind starting this was to, when you do research and we have people doing the research projects, the human aspect of that is utilized for 2 or 3 months, or even 2 or 3 years. Once that project ends, the human factor is forgotten. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to create something for these families that would help them economically as well once they got through with this process. Just don't learn this skill. Just don't learn how to facilitate, but also learn how to be able to assist your family economically. As they grow, then they can help benefit other families. And as we grow, we will be bringing in more parents to help us grow so we can form a more, might say a more mini scalable model so we can have parents all over the state and then expand this, okay? But to make sure that they have some type of economic support from doing this. And Cindy, and that's more in detail with the question, right? Because yes, we want to come out and do it first to help these parents out, so they can have some type of stipend or something going on. Then eventually release it and let you guys do what you got. And I hope that's feasible and it makes sense, you know what I mean? Because they put the time in, you know what I mean? And I will make sure they have something, to kind of take care of their families. I wasn't doing it for me, okay? Just for them,
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? I was just reading what you put, Cindy, on there about the share stream. I don't know. Ashton, are you there? Do you have the bandwidth to try it again, or are we just going to let people look at the videos on themselves by themselves?
I don't think that I can do it. I think it's got to be through your, you have to give me permissions through your Zoom. I don't know why it's not working on.
Okay.
So even though I'm a host, it's still your Zoom, so I think we have to go to the port, I think we have to start back in the portal. It's like a setting on your Zoom.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At least that's my understanding of it, of how I read it online, but I could be wrong.
Well, okay. Well, are there any other questions or concerns or anything that you guys want to talk about, or how we could utilize this within the collective? I want to hear from you guys first, but I have an idea. So, yeah, I know. I'm excited too.
Yeah, love this, we're here for you guys, all right? We just wanted to see, and let me say this before you answer, okay? Back in 2022, we had the privilege to present this with the Yale staff to the international group. I don't know if any of you guys were on that or not, but when we presented it, right? And I didn't realize it was gonna be that huge, And I was on with the team, with not the parents, but the Yale staff. And what was the one common denominator was they were saying all over the country, we don't have this in the after-school process yet in our community. When are you guys coming to do this? When are you gonna start doing this? We've never heard anything like this. We need this in our area.
Yeah.
That's what we got. You know what I mean? So it's organic. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep. Well, I'm thinking that I've heard a huge cry, and I'm going to be working on regionalizing the parent ambassadors and having them And I think this would be a great first workshop for them. And I don't want to, if they don't want to do it, of course they don't have to do it, but I think it would be a really great offering for them to learn about how they can start their own charter within their own town or region. And I'm wondering if people think that's a good idea, a good starting place for regionalizing these parent ambassadors, and start holding regular backbone regional meetings for these parent ambassadors. So I see a lot of head shaking. So I think that's where this is going to go. So Tony, it looks like we'll be working together.
Sounds good.
A
Sounds
little
good.
bit more in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
Because
good.
this is important work. And I'm
Yeah.
just not to make this like, go down a wrong turn or anything, but have you got any pushback from certain towns or from different folks saying SEL is not for us and all that kind of stuff? Or has it been pretty received? I guess would be the way to say it.
Great question. Was prepared for it, right? And the one word I'm very careful of using, but I use in this community, is YALE. Okay, Yale. Okay, I make sure that I use that word less, because people are used to research, and then they're gone. But this, I let them know this is different. And with the SEL piece, even though there are some naysayers nationally, locally, to answer your question, no, people welcoming it, because the way I present it to people is like this, okay? I go in with my fathers and education piece first. Okay?
Yeah.
Father and education is focused on non-custodial fathers and the impact socially and economically on kids who don't get any early childhood education. Then I say, along with that, the fathers are lacking emotional regulation skills. I don't use EI, emotional intelligence, that frightens people.
Yeah.
You're talking down to me. So I use emotional regulation. And by doing that, then I squeeze in the SEL. Social emotional learning, you know what that is? Yeah, it's like to manage your emotions and get things together so these kids can know exactly what it is. How many times have you had a child walk through your door, as an example? They're coming in from the school, they throw their bookcase down, they run to the room, or they go someplace else, and you're sitting there and you're wondering, single mother now, wondering what just happened to little Tony. Now, what would you do in that situation? Would you let him stay back there? Would you keep watching your soap operas? Or would you stay on the phone? See, I keep it real, okay? In real time. What would you do? Would you go and ask Tony, hey, Tony, come here for a second. What happened? Why did you just run through and drop that bookcase down and went in the back? Let me know what happened. Tony will take time and say, you know what happened today? The teacher didn't pay attention to me. But yet the other students, they got attention, but I didn't get any. It could be anything. So there's no kickback, no one throwing anything back at us yet, because people are beginning to realize that this emotional issue we're talking about is also impacting what we call public safety. That people are not processing their emotions correctly. You see?
Yeah.
They're not processing their emotions correctly. It's just the way you package it. So my packaging is through the fathers, through early childhood, through the home. When we discuss prison to school to prison pipeline, or a superintendent said a few years ago, what about school to home pipeline? You see, that emotion. And with the father and education piece, I have a picture, my partner and I have a picture of a kid. We have this picture that I'll show you, I'll email it to you guys, where this black kid is sitting at the table. The two white kids are on the side of him. The two white kids are looking at the booklets and doing what they have to do, but the black kid is doing this right here. He's looking out the window. So I would ask the guys, what did you see in that picture? Why is little Tony looking out that window? Then I would say, they would tell me those stories. That's, well, there's a myriad of reasons why little Tony's looking out that window. He may have witnessed some type of traumatic experience. He may have saw something happen last night. He's not focused on school, but no one has taken the time to even ask him. Now he's missing out on valuable learning time. let's talk to little Tony and see what's going on. Social emotional learning, emotional regulation. It impacts the entire family, not just the child, not just the father, not just the mother, but it impacts public safety on the back end.
That's amazing, amazing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm not a know-it-all now, but just that life experience.
Yeah, it's such an important topic. And I think that our society is really showing as a whole that we just don't have a handle on our emotional regulations anymore. So I'm really optimistic and hopeful. And I think that this program that you've created, Tony, is really going to be the gold standard as far as teaching parents how they have to first learn about themselves, right? It's kind of like when you're on an airplane and they say, if we get into an accident, put the mask on first, because you can't help others unless you help yourself first.
Right.
And this is the model that does that. And I admire you so much for you and your cohort for starting it. Thank you so much. Are there any other? Yes, go ahead.
Let me say this. Like I said, it's not Tony Nelson. It's the parent leaders. I just thank God that he put the thought in my mind, and the parents supported us, and Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence supported us. They did the work. All I want to do is make sure they get to where they have to go. That's my goal, to get to as many people as they can.
Yeah. Ashton, I know you're pulled thin and stretched thin. Is there anything that you want to say before we end for the day? Give you guys back a half hour because we couldn't get this darn video to work.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, I just put in the chat. I mean, Tony was talking about, SEL skills versus, saying emotional intelligence, right? And I think that like for any area, like if you are experiencing any sort of like backlash around like even SEL or emotional intelligence, whatever there might be pushback on, for me, it's always important just to go back to the skills specifically, like what are these SEL skills, right? And use that wording with whoever you might be with, right? So like self-awareness, self-management, and you can even break those terms down even further. If you look at, I do a lot of blogs on the SEL4CT website where I'm giving these tidbits of information of like things that you could do, like misconceptions about SEL and how to talk to parents and caregivers about it if that's something that you're encountering. And so I think that I just wanted to say that using the actual skills in your language, I think is always the most helpful. And I think that is what this program does. So it's not, ruler language, right? It is SEL skills language. So yeah, so I just wanted to say that. And Barbara, to your point about, what'd you say? I'm forgetting what you said now. I'm sorry. Yes.
about our whole society needing help.
Maybe it has left my mind already, but
that's quite all right.
Sorry.
You've had 2.5 hours of sleep. It's okay.
Yeah. I do want to, I did also want to say too, the foundation of this all, right, is like getting parents to talk to each other and talk to, the, caregivers, that are in these programs. And that is, at the end of the day, that is relationship building is everything when it comes to social emotional learning. I'll say that.
Yeah. When it comes to leading a meaningful life, relationships are everything. So it really is the foundation. If we can get this foundation as a people strong and fortified, then everything else is just going to be cake. So are there any other comments or asks or last minute offerings? Yes, Jessica.
A quick question. If we were to offer this to families, is it, I see it's 8 workshops, and would there be like a fee? How would that, is it
Yes,
similar
ma'am.
to like a PEP class or?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. it'll be a fee attached to it. That's what you say starting out. That's why I mentioned the part about helping the parents economically, and then we can grow this on moving forward, and then you guys can have the workshops and everything, the workbooks and everything like that. Like I said, it was something to create something for them, you know, and let them see that they can provide for their families instead of just being part of a project and then they want to get home, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, and we work on the fee structure. Okay, so we'll let you know how much that costs. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
As a backbone support, the Connecticut Children's Collective, we offer grants, but we also would be able to offer support for this with the parent ambassadors. So
Thank you. Yes,
if
ma'am.
you're interested in running that, so.
Sounds good. It's a
Okay.
win-win for everybody. So thank you, ladies. I hope I made sense. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying?
You did. You
Great.
did a wonderful job. Thank you so much. And
Great.
I'm going to quit recording now.
You guys, a question too?
Thanks so much,
That's
Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Barbara. Hey, Barbara.
Yes. Yes.
If you guys would mind, is it okay if I send you some information on fathers in education, our video and our bio?
Yep.
And,
I'm going to post this video on our website, and any kind of resource you want to send my way, I'll post there too. So,
Our
Okay.
infomercial, send it to the infomercial so it make a little sense what I'm doing.
great.
Really good to go. But I love doing this work, okay, and I appreciate you. And my goal is to get more men in the space, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amen.
All righty. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I'm giving you back 23 days or 23 days, 23 minutes.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
brilliant. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye
Bye.
now.
I feel like I could use 23 days.